Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you again for being here. I'm Veronica Bartolini with Codebreaker Real Talk. And thank you again for also being on Super Soldier Lady Talk. Yes.
Hey.
Hi. We have Miss First Lady Erica, Miss Pwrlady, and Miss Terri Smith. Miss Lady Erica had a great idea.
Uh-oh.
The transgender agenda. But, and we did talk about it a little bit, like in Pwrlady named it gender chaos, right? And we'll kind of go with it. And I'll show you some pictures. We're gonna start a little bit soft. Not too harsh yet. So here we have, speaking of plastic surgery, we'll just talk about general stuff. This is someone that is altering their cheekbones.
Oh my.
So like me, I'm in Spanish, it's called cachetona. I was born with big old cheeks. So people say to get this off, they'll suck out some of the fat that's in there. And that's this man here is in California. He's a plastic surgeon, Gabe, I believe, Gabe Plastic Surgery. And I just took some screenshots there of this stuff. Let's see here. Then there's another one that I found interesting because, for a long time I was like, oh, maybe I should get plastic surgery. Tommy, what they call it, mommy tummy?
Yeah. So that first one, that's them flattening the cheek at the bottom so that they can have like a high cheekbone and a thin face, right?
You're right, but they also go a step further. They'll put like implants on their cheeks to make it like an alien, kind of like a gray alien, like.
Yeah. Can you imagine they put somebody got fake pecs and fake calf muscles? Oh my God.
Sort of what like Madonna looks like now, right?
Ooh, boy. You nailed it, Terri. You nailed it.
I know a guy that works out at the gym, and not only does he do steroids, but he has surgery done, and he calls himself how do you call it, what do they prefer to be called? He's a man but goes both ways. Bisexual?
Yes.
Right? Okay,
I don't.
What we took, this is the procedure of the back. They had some fat tissues in the back. Let me see if I can find the other picture. Where
is this the BBL? Was that a BBL?
No, that was just in the back, like in your back when you have a lot of fat on your deltoid area.
No.
Come on, laptop. Don't mess up, please. Come on. I think the fan is going kind of slow. Come on. Did it stop?
It doesn't seem to be doing anything right now. You should look at that statistics on the BBL.
But those pictures are in your that file on your desktop. Is that the one you have open?
Yeah, but my laptop is wigging out on me. One moment. Go ahead and read that. I'm sorry to the audience. I'm having a little bit of problem here sharing, but go ahead and read that, First Lady.
It says in 2020, surgeons performed 40,000 butt augmentation procedures that brought 140 million worth of revenue, according to the American Society of Aesthetics. That was that's during COVID. So everybody they said that was the year of the root chakra, right?
Yeah.
Toilet paper and butt lifts.
Jeez, that's right, huh? Okay, now my laptop is okay. It says
wow.
You are going to want your sound on for this one. This is just a screenshot. And then on the bottom of it, it says I enjoy that sound. Can't
The
see it,
crunch.
the crunch. I was like,
What is this?
What
those-
is it?
I think they're the booby things, aren't
That's
they?
a boob.
Because he takes it
Oh,
out.
that's them taking the implant out, right? And so the stuff that's grown around it.
Look
Oh,
at
and it comes.
fat around it. What does that mean? It becomes part of you. And a lot of people now there's a show in Spanish called Fuga de Reinas, which is Runaway Queens, and there's a Hispanic lady there that says that she talks about, it's a funny movie, but she talks about her implants. Oh yeah, tienen ácido hialurónico, you know, they have hyaluronic acid. I'm like, and they explode. I mean, I don't know if she was being funny or what, but I know that these things have caused women to be depressed. The silicone or whatever.
When they start leaking into the body.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know why it stopped sharing, but here we go again. Let's do another.
I know Black China is she removed all of her implants.
You know who Black China is, right, guys? La China Negra. The mafiosa. Look at this
Ooh,
before and after. And then there's the blood duct, the ones that siphons the blood around the mommy tummy. And then she also,
You mean the tube that's connected?
yeah, that tube on the left side of her hip.
What that tube is, where the incision is on the tummy tuck, what it does is that any fluids or any blood that is remaining, it goes into that tube and drifts out so that it does not stay in the body. So
Right.
at the end of this tube is a bulb,
Mhm.
and the liquid drains into that, and it'll start getting lighter and lighter and lesser, and that's how they know that, you know, you have no more fluid or any of that build up.
Yeah, when I had both my lower back surgery and my neck surgery for my spine, I had a bulb in the back and one in the front. And they just, when they took it out, oh, it's like, oh, it pops and it's like, oh my gosh, it just hurts because it was there for like maybe 2 days, 3 days.
Yeah, 'cause they just pull it out.
Yeah. So here, let's see. These are the tummy tucks. And they cut through your layers.
so I guess they cut the skin. They had to, right? It was so tempting. This I know I had a friend and her daughter did it and she looked really good, and then she did it and she was like, Erica, do it. And I would always think about it, but then I'm always like, no. I don't know. Oh man. And then I wonder how long it lasts.
No.
Like you can't do the same thing. You can't like get it done and go do the same thing you've been doing. It's gonna pucker and buckle and look weird.
Hmm.
And I know too, like when you have that C-section, or sometimes when you just get pregnant, the muscles around your belly button don't seem to go back quite right around the belly button. Like for me, my stomach is square like that. And then there's one side where it's not the same as the rest. Like there's a quadrant out of the 4 that is like this piece is bigger, or I don't even know how to explain it. It's like a bubble. It's like a bubble. But, you know, at the time I had a C-section, and here it is. They've pretty much like forced you to have a C-section nowadays. You know, it has to be like 39, 40 weeks, and they won't go any further than that. If the baby won't come out, they'll definitely force you to have a C-section. But I wasn't dilating. And I think I had preeclampsia, but I just remember feeling like I had no choice in anything when I was in the hospital.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was gonna show other pictures, but apparently I'm having a problem getting those pictures out. So here we
I think
go.
because you had to extract them.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
I did save them. Pwrlady was helping me earlier to get the show started on the road. So now I gotta go do it the old school way.
Yeah. I'm thinking a part of this comes from Nip Tuck too. Do you remember watching that show?
Mm-hmm.
Like that was the show. Joan Rivers was on there. Brooke Shields, Famke, the lady from, I think she was on Superman or something.
The oldest one?
Wow, no, yeah, Famke. She was super tall brunette. And I think they built her a vagina. They sure did on Nip Tuck.
Really? This is
Hmm.
hopefully this will work, guys.
Oh, that's it. I recognize the music. Yes. That's a lot. Because you got to create the pee holes and take a piece of the colon part out. Jeez. That was the super short version, honestly.
It was sped up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. It was sped up. Because you imagine the seminal fluid comes through, vesicles. Oh my gosh. All the things that you have to cut. And then you have to take the testicles off. But then basically it's peeling a sausage, like literally peeling a sausage and trying to keep as much skin as you can to do what you need to do. And it's like, what do you do with the sausage part? You just throw the sausage part away? Like, is that what you do? You give the sausage to someone else or?
Well, you know, here in America and, you know, the other countries do, we'll just say organ donation. So that way we don't get this channel taken down. But you know what?
Yeah.
Okay, here it says, and Miss Lady Erica, it says here, thank you for sending this. The hidden dangers of genders affirming care. 55% of trans women who have bottom surgery are in so much pain they need medical care years later, according to study of dozens of cases, and up to a third struggle to use the toilet or have sex.
Right. And so on that, it says 43% of, it says the symptoms of the vaginoplasty. 43% just experience pain. Then there's concerns with dilation, 37%. Dilation is the actual opening that the vagina that you created will not stay open. So 30% of people, it just constantly closes. So they have to do what's called dilating it. So you got to keep putting something in there. Problems with bleeding over time.
Do they, when they create a vagina, can they have orgasms? I mean,
I'm not sure if they can have proper orgasms. You know, if you don't know what I feel like when I have an orgasm, how can you know what you're supposed to feel like when you have your orgasm? Number one, women have 30% more nerve endings in our vagina. That whole inside is just nerve endings. So if I take the skin that belongs on my hand, which is not your hand skin, but it's a different kind of skin, and I put it on the inside because your vagina is soft, probably softer than the inside of your mouth, right?
Yeah.
This is very sensitive. It also heals fast too, right? But I'm gonna feel that a lot different than if I had felt it on this kind of skin. You can't get this from anywhere.
Yeah.
You can't, there's no part of the body you can take that from and build that. So I would say they don't feel it the same way that we do.
So you said
Um,
something, you said, Erica, where it says hair and vagina, number 10, like what, 12.5%? Is that what you meant the other video where the hair keeps growing and then they have to?
Oh, there's so malodor, 8, so 10%, it smells bad. 3.8% are saying that it's numb. Closure is vaginal closure. So that's 10% where it just closes up, because this is a wound that's trying to heal itself. Your DNA has a program. The program doesn't change. Even with hormones, the program of your DNA has an ultimate function. This skin, when I cut it, the clots build, the vitamin K builds up, it clots and it closes up. This idea of close, like the machine works. This machine works a certain way. So when you do cut it, that's where the vaginal tightness comes from, because you can only create but so much space. Women, we are blessed that, guess what? I can pop a baby through there, shrink it back on down. They got some, have you ever seen that tightening cream? They got tightening cream, or you take a hot shower, take a douche. You can't change, you can shrink that baby back up and everybody's happy. How you can take out a baby and still be able to have sex, with and still have orgasms and stuff like that. It's just gonna be different. It's gonna be different. One thing I liked about that interview of what is her name? Yeesh. What's her name?
The one that,
yeah. No, that blonde lady right there. Well, she prefers now to be called a man. She said that she felt it was sexist of her to, after she got the procedure, he realized it was sexist of me to think that I could be a woman. He was very upset. He feels like, if this is a scam by the pharmaceutical company, that because the laws against pushback, when you psychologically questioning and doubting that the person has that sexual identity, if the doctors and psychologists actually were to pursue them and go down the list of, what'd you say, mental abnormalities, if they were to say you have this or you, it would be like it would be like racism. You know what I mean? It'd be like, oh, you're being prejudiced against me. So they can't really push back. And so he said that he in particular had a problem with inner homophobia. So what his thought was that, oh, I don't want to be gay, because that's a bad word to him, right? Being gay. And that if I changed my sex, then now I will be straight and no one can call me gay. I won't be gay. But then here you are kind of living, wondering if you're ever going to get off the medications. You can't. With the boob job and the female hormones, he went into early onset osteoporosis, removing a segment of his colon. He has now issues with his colon. So there's just all these problems that he's having. And now you want to change back, but you don't have testicles. They went in the trash somewhere. So even if you build up the penis again, now you don't have the testicles when you want to go back.
maybe they grow somebody else. You never know.
Yeah, and I did know of I had a client that went through the bottom surgery as a female to male, and it kept coming unhinged. I don't know if it completely falls off, but you have stitches that never quite go right. And then this person actually got in some trouble and was incarcerated. And so you've gone and changed your birth certificate to say male, And if you take your female frame, even if you got a penis, into a male prison, how do you protect yourself? Number one, if they ever were to find out that maybe you are a transition person, maybe they won't treat you like a man. Maybe they'll still want to treat you like a woman. But then physically, how do you protect yourself as well? And it's like, where do you put that person? I know a person right now transitioning from male to female in a male prison, and they want to stay in the male prison, of course, but now that's like, but the prison system is actually paying for it. In California, the prison system is taking this person to all their doctor's appointment, and the government is paying for this person to transition in jail. And so now that there's a problem with Medicaid, because it's like you can guarantee at least 12 years of follow-up procedures with this. And how is it really fair that you get to use Medicaid to do it? You know, because I keep thinking about all the other people that really need help and they need Medicaid.
There's also something else going on in the prisons where you don't need any documentation. You just need to say this, I know I may look like a man, but I am a woman. And they fill out paperwork. Because I just read an article about a law that they're passing in Nevada about the prisons. Well, I guess one of the states, I do not remember, there are 2 females who are in a female prison that are now pregnant because the males who transitioned to females and they were placed in female prisons, now those females that are in there are getting pregnant. So that's what's going on also.
Okay, I'm confused. They are males transitioning to females?
So they are put in the female prison.
Right.
And the females in the prison who are already there are getting pregnant.
Oh, because these people still have penises and they're in a female prison.
Right.
People pregnant, not the guards. Like, wait, what?
Yeah, this is a thing now. It used to be the guard, or maybe the nurse or something like that. But it's now it is the males who say they're females and they're being placed in these female prisons and the females are getting pregnant.
Well, I can imagine you become a stud in either way. Like if you transition to female or male, if you're there with everyone else, you're some type of stud. Because I think that this one person transitioning to female plans on really running things and being a hot commodity, but also causing some drama with people fighting over the only 1 or 2 transitioned females in a whole, in a prison. That's
because the article was giving indication that that these men who were transitioning to female didn't have to have any documentation. They just had to fill out forms that this is how they felt. This is what was going on. They've always felt this way. And I believe they probably met with some medical people as far as the prison, and they said what they said, and they moved them to female prisons. So, and now females in the prison, you're right, they're a stud. They still got their package, and it is what it is. It's called living in different times nowadays.
Yeah, this one also, First Lady Erica sent, it says, so far in this year's legislative session, state lawmakers have introduced 434 bills that restrict fundamentals like healthcare, education, and the freedom of expression for LGBTQ plus people. Oh my gosh, they added more. And are concentrated across southern states, according to analysis from the American Civil Liberties. And then it goes down to say in Florida, lawmakers introduced a bill that prevents minors from receiving gender affirming care and would force kids to detransition if they had already begun hormone therapy.
okay. So force kids, did you say? Lawmakers introduced a bill that prevents minors from receiving gender-affirming care and would force kids to detransition if they already begun the therapy.
Their hormone therapy, because remember I think it was you, Miss Lady Erica, that said that once you start hormones, you can't like stop taking them because you're
That's true.
in a new body per se, kind of. And you need,
Right.
yeah.
Okay, so I think that's like what do you call that? Semantics. When you say, I'm going to force you to detransition. No, I'm just forcing, your body is detransitioning because you're not getting the drugs that you would normally get. I'm not really sure. I can't really say this for me. I'm not really sure what would drive a person to want to transition a child. The only thing I could think of was,
I mean, that would,
what I saw was this. Okay, so back in about the 60s or 70s, right? A lot of women, they said equal work, equal pay, women in the workplace, right? And, this movement started. And, women wanted to be like firefighters and police women. And I don't know if it was include police, but firefighters would have been a difficult situation, right? They had to really push for that. And then there was forestry. So in the forestry department, so these women that came along and did they really want that job, or were they a part of a movement to provoke? You know what I'm saying? So these women, they flooded the forestry and they fought to get the jobs, right? And it forced the law to change so that you had to hire a certain amount of women in forestry. Well, what happened? All of forestry really ends up collapsing because you can't find enough women. They give a care enough to want to be firefighters and do forestry. So that means you're always understaffed because you can't fill 40% of the jobs with women because women don't want those jobs, not really. So then there's that. There's it's like being a provocateur. There's other examples of this where it goes across the board of pushing the law to say that we need a certain amount of people in this job. Now then go further to women who are like, well, just because I'm pregnant or whatever condition I'm in, I should still be able to work. And then I saw how, they were showing how there's some women who want to be able to pump their breasts in public, right? You want to pump your breasts at work. And this one situation where I saw the female, it's in the middle of the office. And of course, somebody's going to look at you. You got a breast pump. You're going, and she's like, what are you looking at? Take a picture. It'll last longer. And then later on, she brings the baby to the office and the lady says, oh, the baby's so beautiful. She's so pretty. And she says, that's not a she, it's a he. And the lady says, well, how would I know? She's wearing all pink. And then the woman responds, and pink is his favorite color. And so then I thought, oh my God, this is a mindset of a person that's in a movement who says, oh, I'm having kids for this purpose. I'm getting these jobs for this purpose. When I was living in Charleston, South Carolina, we had a school called the Citadel. There's an all-male school. West Point is not an all-male school. It's male-female. There are military academies for males and females, but for some reason, they wanted to deconstruct this school. And the woman who went, she couldn't do what those people were doing. They had to build like a space for her to live in. They had to build bathrooms. They had to do all these changes for her to basically flunk out, like after 6 months? She never graduated. But to force a situation, I don't think that she just really wanted to go to this school. I'm just going to say that. I don't think that her dream was to go to the Citadel. I feel like she was an agent used to go try to break down the system. And so these people, some people don't know, some people maybe don't know, but some people volunteer that this is their purpose is to destroy the system. And so they're really devoted to it, to the point where they would actually have children or adopt children to put them through this process. And
Do you think that there's programming that's going on? I mean, we talked about this before about MK stuff. Do you think that a lot of things that are happening in these movements have been programmed and people are responding not necessarily from who they truly are, but from thought processes that have been implanted?
I don't know who can answer that question. Pwrlady?
Yes, go ahead, Pwrlady. I'll say yes.
Go ahead. I said yes, go ahead and explain, Veronica.
I don't know who would.
Okay. All right, you gonna play right now, girl. All right.
I don't know who would be like. I think it's a whole.
Get your shovel, girl. We're going deep.
I don't know who will be in charge of this. It's a whole separate.
AI.
Okay,
The monster with
AI.
the one-eye monster with the 8, the squid, or what would we call him? The octopus. He be the AI god that these cabal, Mason, Illuminati worship, and that gets into the actual video that I wanted to show, but today we're not gonna have time, about the black cube and Mecca and 356 or 360 beings inside this round thing that supposedly is an asteroid and fell. And everybody go to Mecca. And then they have to fight about all these wives that they can have. Oh no, you can only have 5. Oh no, you can only have 3. Oh no, you gotta have red beard and paint it with henna, because you ain't really a redhead. You a blonde. You're Nordic. Because your mama is Nordic and your papa is, you know what I'm saying? So it gets to all this, and it has to do with gender also.
Does that include Saturn?
The
That's
tie.
including Saturn? So we were talking about Saturn, and Saturn has rings, right? And so when you hit your head, and they want to show up, they show the rings around your head. We made that connection. So that's when you're foggy, right? Your thinking is not clear with the rings. And I was like, is this the connection with Saturn? Okay.
Yeah, because going back to when Max Spears talked about their thought prisons, okay? Like the rainbow colors, just look at the Saturn, the rings on Saturn. The rainbow, whenever there's a rainbow here, you're like, oh my gosh, it's a promise that from Noah's Ark that we're not gonna get flooded. No, it's a MK Ultra. It's what kind of thought are you gonna get stuck with? The transgender agenda, the religion, politics. I gotta go to Princeton, I gotta go to Juilliard, I gotta be a mommy, I gotta be a doctor, I gotta, all these thought prisons. Religion, like I said, whatever kind of thought, they don't care. The cabal or whoever does not care what thought form you get stuck with, as long as you get stuck with something. So I have worked really hard to get out of these thought forms. I get rid of one, then another one comes. I'm like, I see you, get out. And then what I do is I refract them. So there's all these mirrors coming to you. And what I do is, so the mirrors, I just go return to sender. So all the mirrors are facing them broken, all those thought forms. And I'm here just watching, but I'm clearing, watching, clearing, watching, clearing, right? So I don't know. Does that make sense? Pwrlady, you want to say something?
I'm fine.
I believe I agree with you, because it is a circular thinking. It's like, the thing about it is, for us, or for most people, it's like, we're really concerned. We're concerned. We're worried. We actually care. It's not that we're angry or actually hating people. we're actually like concerned and worried that people are hurting themselves. We're actually worried that kids are getting hurt. And when I watch a story like that, it makes me, I cry for people because there's this endless amount of pain, but there's no actual resolution for you. I understand if you have body morphia. The funny thing is, we as women already have body morphia, right? And we have these menstrual cycles. And I'm like, who would wish this on anybody, right? You know, you got one boob bigger than the other, and you're sweating under your boobs. We got like stuff going on, like physically, that I just couldn't imagine. Like, how much time have you ever spent with a woman to know what we're actually feeling and going through, second guessing every thought, feeling like you're going crazy once a month, and you're actually going to take the same thing that makes us feel this way and inject it in your body when you got your own stuff going on. So you're like multiplying whatever chaos, because we're fighting these hormones, literally trying to balance out these hormones. And I can't imagine someone doing that, but then actually pumping it into a kid and giving them even more stress and confusion. Because when you're like 10 to 16, life is so overwhelming and so serious, and kids are already suicidal just with basic things going on in life, that to indulge them with more hormones is like a powder keg. It's not really a thing that solves the problem. And so here it is, when we were talking more about how can we be compassionate, because the whole idea, the thing is, someone else is saying, mind your business, don't tell me what to do, but you're coming with them out of love. And I'm just reaching this space where I also know too, like, sometimes people got to learn the hard way. And these kids, they aren't mine. They don't belong to me. And maybe they have a contract with their parents, and you know what we're talking about, a life contract that there's not anything I can do about it. And so where do I go with my mind and my thoughts and all my feelings? Because I can't project that on anybody else to tell them, please, no, save your testicles, you know, because they'll be like, I saw a meme the other day and it said, don't tell me about gender detransition stories. That's their problem and I don't give a fuck. So that's a person that's like, I'm going to do it whether I want to or not.
Well, there are that we do.
Right. But so here it is. Well, we want to be outraged and concerned. And it's like, what can you do? Take care of your kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, be happy with.
Take care of your kids, your bloodline, and what Pwrlady and I and another awesome lady do is we cut cords every day. Like every day I'll talk to Pwrlady, hey, this is what I did in the astral, this is what happened. Girl, we gotta cut them cords, you know what I mean? And it's like everybody comes in agreement. I mean, you don't necessarily need like people doing it for you, but it's stronger in numbers. And remember,
Yeah,
that you come together for a reason to help someone, then heck yeah, they're gonna be cut off, you know? We're using
yeah.
some words here.
Well, you know, one thing I can't imagine, like loving my 10-year-old or 12-year-old and doing that to them. So there's something, like when you say that thought is circular, it's trapped, I can't imagine loving my son and doing anything like this to him. And at this point, my son is 16. And if you come at him, he already took sex ed in school. He knows, and he's like, look, I don't want to hear nothing about anything about sex. Doesn't want to hear it. And so a lot of these kids, I think if you really ask them what they wanted, they would say, I want you to shut up and I want to play video games. So well, they like, leave me alone. So, you know.
Yeah, and you know what? And let the kids decide when they're 25 years old, once their brains have developed, because we know that the brains don't fully develop until the people are in their 20s. And once they've done that, then but prior to that, it's not as a parent, I mean, we've seen the videos, like you can't vote until you're 21. You can't go into a bar until you're 21. But, you know, as a parent, you're going to let your child make a decision that's going to affect their life when they're 12 years old.
But this is more like dance moms because these kids are making the decisions. There's a lot of coaching going on.
The pageants, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just know this too, that like kids, like we think we want a lot of stuff. I remember I went through a period when I was in school where I had a crush on my best friend. Now I'd have been pushed into a clinic by my friends or read an article and been like, no, we going through hormonal changes and all of our thoughts are not our own. We are being over sexualized by the time we're 8, right? We're being sexualized. We talked about that last night, Terri. And the system is made so that even with Kinsey, they were experimenting on kids as infants to see when these kids would be ready to have sex.
Jeez.
And so our cartoons are focused on boyfriends, girlfriends, relationships, and sex. And I'm just thinking we need to step way back because I'm thinking some of us, we don't need to be having kids. Some of us adults don't even need to be having sex. We need to spend some time with ourselves. But the thing is, who's going to understand that if they're not coming from a spiritual mindset in the first place, though? Mm-hmm. So you're lost already. There's a wasted conversation because I'm seeing people triggered about the color of the skin of an actress. Just too brown. This one's too light. This one's too, and these are non-spiritual people having non-spiritual problems. You know what I'm saying? So, and here we are as observers.
Michael Jackson changed his color. Michael Jackson changed his color.
I think that has to do with him getting caught on fire, though, didn't it? But
no, I think it had to do. Well, maybe, but I think it had something to do with him hating the color of his skin because his father did all kinds of stuff to him. Could be both. I don't know.
Yeah, because he was brown until he had the accident with Pepsi. Then he changed drastically.
And that was done on purpose, man. That was done on purpose.
Yeah. But I talk a lot, so y'all. Howard lady thinks she's slick. She up there being quiet. So.
Even Terri spoke today. Thank you, Terri, for that because that was very, very important for you to bring it up. Thank you.
What I would like to say is that when we get these children, and I mentioned this before, that when we come into this world, we've been all different types of sexes, male or female, colors, races, cultures, and all that. And I think the ones that are here now, there may be some confusion, but what they need is love and compassion and understanding from their parents and the people that mean the most to them that are around them. They don't need outside interference telling them, well, you could do this. We're going to have this class. You can't tell your parents about it. So, and I think once they get past the hormonal stage and things start relaxing and they start coming into who they really are, and if they're like, get to that point where like, you know what, this body I'm in is the right one for me, then that means that waiting and giving them love from their parents and understanding and talking to them, it worked because they got through that difficult point of where all these hormones are surging and going here and there, and they know, that they're in the right skin or not. So that's my take on it, is to leave them be. And when they get to that later age of 18, 19, 20, 25, and then they come to you and say, I want to do this, then they've had all those years to figure out if who and what they are is correct for them. And I just say, leave them alone. All the outside interference is the worst thing that we can do,
Like the rock song, leave our children alone, teacher, leave the children alone. That reminds me of when I was at the U of A, I was taking psychology Because I was already in my beginning, I was about to begin my 4th year for bilingual education, minor in Spanish and music. Well, I had to go to tutoring all the time because I was like, not only that, but I was working, I was a realtor, I had my apartment, everything. So when I went to tutoring for psychology, there was a thought form that came in. And the lady, she would have this habit of going like that with her gold necklace around her neck, real slow, when we would talk about gender. And I looked at her and I'm like, oh my gosh, why am I getting feelings? What if I'm gay? Lesbian, I don't know how to say it anymore. What if I like girls, while she goes like this and we talk about the psychology that we're talking about. And I didn't want to go back to tutoring. I don't know how I passed that class without the tutoring. I just didn't want to go back because it just didn't, it felt foreign. That was not me. Now, another thing that I want to briefly discuss is, okay, you're right, Pwrlady, because I agree with you. I totally say leave the children alone. We do not need your drag shows in school. Thank you. No, thank you. And what happens though when your nephew or another person in the family is being bombarded with Carol G, with the red hair, and then that person starts to emulate a female, very, very high sex kitten thing. And the mom, in the meantime, has had 3 plastic surgeries and continues to get Botox and fillers. You know what I mean? You're kind of like feeding the gender dysmorphia, I guess you can say. So it appalls me when this is very different for me. Yes, I grew up with, having gay friends and stuff like that, and I respect them, I still do. But it's like this whole transgender thing, it's a very touchy subject because yes, Pwrlady, like we were talking the other day, it's like some people do come in. I think it was the other show, right, guys? In the Gender Chaos, where they're in a female body, but they know they're male.
Yeah, because what I was saying is that I know in previous lives I have been male and female.
Yeah, same here.
And I have been, that I know of, have been more of a female in these previous lives than I have. So I've taken it that I prefer to be a female. So, and I guess when I reincarnate or come back, but sometimes there is a little like, let's suppose I came in as a male, but I prefer to be a female. I may have some thoughts or some different ways of thinking or feeling. I'm a little bit of confusion, but once I get through the puberty time and all that, then I will be able to acclimate to what I am in this life, so to speak. And so that's what I mean. We just have to, you gotta leave our kids alone, because when they get to a certain age, you know how crazy you are when you're growing up, you're running here, running there, and then something happens. And all of a sudden you're in line. And many parents have said, I didn't think she was going to graduate because she was ditching. She had met this boy and her schoolwork fell. And then when she became a senior, it's like something clicked in her and she was straight A and she was this. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. When the children get to a certain age, there will be something that clicks in them and it'll tell them you are a girl or you're a boy. And they don't need to be pushed in something the opposite of what they physically already are.
I think I got an analysis. This is like your baby trying to learn how to walk, and he keeps falling down. He's trying to figure it out and balance. But instead of letting him learn how to walk, you give him a Lexus. And you put a baby behind the wheel of a Lexus, and you're like, here's the keys. And the baby drives to the front of the grocery store. Like, it doesn't make sense. He got to learn to walk, got to learn to ride a bike. then walk to school a few times, get a job, buy your own car. Yeah. So go ahead, Terry.
No, I just wanted to add to for what Iris was saying is I know a young lady who is she's close to 17 now. But when she was going through that puberty age of 13, 14, she decided she wanted to be a boy. So she really, took on the boyish look, the boyish habits. She didn't do any of the other stuff, but that's what she did. And then I saw her. I was seeing her, on and off. She's a daughter of a friend of mine, and then I walked in one day. And there she was in this cute little tank top with her with her breasts showing and the makeup on, and it was like, wow, what happened? And her mother said she decided to embrace her femininity. So, here was somebody going through those stages where they would have been pushed by someone to, oh, you got to go for this transgender. But she on her own decided that I want to be a girl. But as she matured, she made that choice, and her mother didn't just let her go through that stage. But I look and I wonder how many other young people are going through that because, yeah, I mean, I can remember when I was at that age, and we didn't have all of the exposure that we have now. So I can only imagine how difficult it is for young people these days. And if you have somebody who's pushing it, that's not fair. You're really not giving that child a chance to make their decision. You're making a decision for them. And you can't say that, oh, this is what they want. No, it's not necessarily what they want. And I think as an adult who has their best interest, you have to give them the opportunity to make that decision when they are fully ready for it. Not what you think.
That's right.
Yeah.
Terry. And then First Lady Erica said, and others do have the power to impress their emotions on you with psychic energy. Yeah, so that's why we always protect ourselves. And with that, we gotta go. But we will continue this next week, ladies. Let me know when you're available.
We'll have part 3.
To part 3 for.
Oh, really?
Erica said, oh, really?
No, I mean, I just, I read that comment and I just thought, you're right. It's none of my damn business. What can I do? I can't say, we cannot save someone else's soul.
But you know what? We cannot, but it's important that this information gets out there. And if it just reaches one person,
most definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
And I think that's the important part about it, because children, preteens, new adults, they have to know that there is an outcome. You're not boxed in that you have to do this right now. You have time.
You have time.
Yeah. And
I had a 19-year-old that I counseled, and I was like, why are you in such a hurry to make a decision? Don't put a name on. I don't like being put in a box and checking boxes. And that's the scary part. I don't want you to have to check a box. You shouldn't make anybody force you into a box to tell you who you are. You can pull back and say, you don't have to answer, or I don't know, or, this is a whole lifetime. We got a whole lifetime to figure out who we are. So just pull back. And, when I meet you, I don't tell you, hey, my name is Becky. On Thursdays, I like anal. On Friday, I cheat on my husband. You know what I'm saying? Because when you do this, when you say, hey, I'm this, and I got to tell like, what the fuck is you telling everybody that for? It's nobody's business.
I agree.
There's some things that I do, maybe you don't need to know that. But that's not the biggest part of who I am. People didn't want to be judged by their skin color. Well, why do you want people, why do you want to be judged based on what you do in the bed? That's nobody's business.
Yes.
And your packages. What?
Yeah.
Flexing?
Yeah. Do you go around with your bank account number on you, telling people how much you got in the bank?
This is
Like
what
you're
I
telling
have
everybody.
today.
All you,
This is my
but
menu.
it's
This is who I
but it's
slept with.
become this thing that you have to wear to show everybody this is who I am. Like, is that really all you are? You're summarizing yourself as just this one thing. That's what defines you, more than being human
Right.
and treating other people like a human and being a good human being. So yeah.
And that's what social media does. The AI wants you to expose everything. Like that dream that I had, which I'm not going to get into because we got to go. But
We got to go.
the dream that I had with the cats having sex with the dogs and making these little peepees, they're like little duckies coming out and growing and growing and growing. And then the thing exploding out of them when they're done and they're dead, all those yellow, orange things coming out. It's like,
Sounds like that Arca video. Anyway.
yeah. Love you guys. And I'll put everything down, the videos that we shared and our information.
And the de-transgender website so people can look at the stories. You know, I think focus on the de-transgender, help support the people because their voices aren't being heard.
Exactly. We are here for you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.